Hello everyone. This video would focus on proportion problems. Let's take this first example right here. On a map, 1 inch is equal to 45 miles. So what are we going to do is we are going to change this statement into its ratio form. So we can go ahead and say that we are given 1 inch and that is equal to 45 miles. So then we can go ahead and write 1 inch and that is over 45 miles. So this is the ratio that we created out from this statement right here. And we are going to use this ratio that we got here in solving for these two problems that we have here related to this statement. So let's take the first case right here. What is the distance of 5 inches in miles? So the first thing that we're going to do in order that we can solve this kind of problem is we use this ratio that we established from the statement that we got here. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that down here. So that would be 1 inch and that is over 45 miles. And we are going to use whatever is the given that we have in this problem right here to create the other ratio to make the proportion. So then we go ahead and say that we are given 5 inches here. So then if we look at the ratio that we got initially up here, inch is on top and then miles is at the bottom. Now others are going to say, can we flip it around? Yes, you can. But for this problem, we could just keep it like this. So then we go ahead and say that this 5 inches here shall be written on top to be uniform with the first ratio that we got here. So I'm going to write 5 inches here on top. And then it says here, what is the distance in miles? So we can just go ahead and write that as X miles. We don't know what it is. And that's what this problem is asking for. So as you can see here, both ratio on the left side and on the right side are actually pretty similar. That means they have inches on top. They both have inches on top. And then they both have miles at the bottom. So then we can go ahead and do the math here. So in order that we can solve this problem pretty quick, we get rid of the units so we don't get confused and overwhelmed by all of these units here. So that I can just go ahead and write this as 1 over 45 and that is equal to 5 over x. So we've gotten all the units here. So what are we going to do is we are going to cross multiply to solve for x. So the 1 and the x shall be multiplied together. So we can go ahead and write that down here. So that's 1 times x is equal to, we multiply again the other one right here, 45 and 5. So I can go ahead and say that's 45 times 5. And so 1 times x is just x, and that is equal to 45 times 5 is 225. The units that we have here is, we say that x miles, since we solved for x, so then 225, the units for that would be in miles. So the distance of 5 inches in the map is actually, this 5 inches is actually representing the 225 miles. So this is the answer that we got for this first problem right here. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. If the distance between San Francisco and Los Angeles is approximately 360 miles, how many inches would that be on the map? So again, just like what we did on the first problem, we are going to write the ratio that we established from the first statement that we got there. So that would be 1 inch and that is over 45 miles, and that is equal to, in this problem, we are given 360 miles. So then we go ahead and say that since we've established the numerator is in inches and the denominator is in miles, and we're given 360 miles, so this 360 miles will go to the bottom. So I write 360 miles right here, and that is x inch. So we don't know how many inches will that be represented in the map given this condition that we have right here. So then we go ahead and get rid of the units so we don't get overwhelmed by all of the units that we got here. So that will be 1 over 45 is equal to x over 360. So just like what we did on the first problem, we are going to cross multiply this. So that would be 45 and x is going to get cross multiplied. So that would be x times, that's 45. And that is actually equal to, we multiply as well the 1 and 360. So that would be 1 times 360. So 45 times x is 45x, and that is equal to 360. We want to solve for x, so then we go ahead and divide both sides by 45. So I divide this by 45, and then I divide this by 45, so I can cross the 45 out. So I'm left with x is equal to, if we divide 360 divided by 45, that is actually 8. And so the unit that we got here, since we say x inches, so the unit for x here is in inches. So that means the distance between San Francisco and LA would be represented on the map as 8 inches. And that is actually equivalent to the actual distance of 360 miles. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next example right here. At a certain gas station, it costs $250 per gallon of gas. So again, the first step is to establish the ratio that represents this statement that we got here. So it says here it's $250 per gallon. So we can therefore say that that's actually $2.50. So that's $2.50 over 1 gallon. So this is our ratio for this statement right here. And then we are going to use this ratio that we got here in solving for these two problems here. And let's take the first one. How much will it cost to fill up a car that has 10-gallon gas tank? So we are going to use this ratio again. I'm going to write that down here. So that is 250 over 1 gallon. And then in this problem, we are given 10 gallons. So then we can go ahead and say that this 10 gallons would go to the bottom. So that would be 10 gallons right here. And that is X dollars. So we don't know how many dollars would it cost for us to buy a 10 gallon gas. So then we can go ahead and get rid of the units here so that we're not overwhelmed with all of these units, and we just have to do the math. So that would be 2.50 over 1 is equal to x over 10. So then we go ahead and cross multiply these two. So that would be 1 and x. So we multiply them together. So that's 1 times x is equal to, then we're multiplying as well the 250 and the 10. So I go ahead and write 10 times 2.50. So 1 times x is just x, and that is equal to 10 times 250 is 25. And so if we look at the original equation that we got here, our x is in dollars, so this x shall be represented as dollars right here. So this is the amount that we need to pay in order that we can fill the 10-gallon gas tank. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. How many gallons of gas can you buy from $35? So suppose we have $35. How many gallons of gas are you going to able to get? So then we go ahead, again, we use the ratio that we established from the first statement. So I'm just going to go ahead and write it down here. So that would be 2.50 over 1 gallon. Now this time around in this problem, we are given $35. So if you see the ratio that we established, the dollar is on top and then the gallon is at the bottom. So then this 35 is going to go to the top. So I write 35 right there, and then I write X gallon, and that makes sense because how many gallons? So we don't know what it is, so we represent it as X. So then we go ahead and get rid of the units here. So this would come out 2.50 over 1 is equal to 35 over X. So then we go ahead and cross multiply these two, so the 250 and the X. So we can write it down here. So 2.50 times X is equal to, that's 135 shall be multiplied together. So that's 1 times 35. So 250 times x is still 2.50x, and that is equal to 35. Now we wanted the x by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 2.50. Divide this by 2.50, so we can get rid of the 2.50 right here. We are left with just x, and that's the one that we're looking for, the x gallons of gas. So 35 divided by 2.50 is 14. So then the unit for this, now if we look at the original equation that we got, x is represented as gallons, so that's x gallons. So this 14 is actually gallons. So I can write x is equal to 14 gallons. So which means if you have $35, you can actually get 14 gallons of gas given this condition that we have right here. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!